Hello, Collective. Good afternoon. Tarot Flow here, coming to give you another daily collective message. I am here today and using the Accurate as Fuck Tarot. And this is actually like a really rare deck. I found it on Etsy like a couple years ago. And I only use it when I'm guided to use it. It's a really special deck. They're actually circle cards. So I'm going to go ahead and start shuffling. And if you feel like this message is going to be for you, you can stick around and listen. And if not, you can scroll away. I'm setting my intention that this reading is for the collective, and we're going to see what's going on today. Also, remember that this message is timeless. So whenever this message reaches you, it was meant for you to hear it. Remember that time is an illusion and energy is fluid. Please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. The Spirit have for the collective at this time. Let's pull one more card. One more card, please. Let's have two for the collective today. The need for stillness. We have this new moon coming up on Friday. Start setting your intentions this week. Ooh, I like it a lot. This is a transition. This is definitely a transition, especially with mental capacity. This is, how we think, how we process. And I really like it a lot because Mercury is in Sagittarius right now, which is like helping refine our communication. And we might have to be a little brutally honest about some things, sticking up for ourselves, that type of thing. But today you guys got the Spirit of Swords and the Dawn of Swords. This is the Page and the Knight. And I really like this a lot because this is helping you come into more refined ways of thinking, and it's helping you process your experiences, especially just reflection with, us closing out 2025 and coming into a new year. There's a lot of reflection, but I also feel like because a lot of us are starting to come out of those dark spaces, come out of our cocoons, I feel like there's a lot of eagerness here. There's a lot of willingness to move on. There's a lot of willingness to express ourselves, willingness to communicate in any way, shape, and form, And I feel like up until this point, if you've been a little timid, a little quiet about, speaking out loud about what it is that you want, the type of support that you need in your life, you being able to set healthy boundaries, that type of thing, I feel like it's going to be really easier for you leading up until the new year. We're sort of in that energy right now where we're wondering why we want to speak up. We're wondering why, you know, old situations, old scenarios are starting to replay in our head. Don't beat yourself up about not being able to reply in a certain way that you wanted to, or speak up in a certain way that you may have wanted to. And maybe in the past, at that particular moment, you didn't have the courage or, the passion to be able to do so. I feel like for a lot of us, we might even come to specific scenarios and situations before the end of the year where we're going to relive those moments again, those same scenarios again. It's going to give us an opportunity to speak up, express ourselves, whatever that is. And I like it a lot too with the Dawn of Swords. This is the Knight of Swords. This is like, being diligent in something. Like you're going head fast towards something. You're diving into something. I would say just be careful to not be impulsive. Follow your intuition. Swords are a lot about mental capacity. So it's about how you think, so you're processing, you're being analytical, but still make sure that you are, redirecting your energy in a particular way that you are still allowing yourself to follow your intuition. 11:11 on the clock where I'm at, Eastern Standard Time. So that's a confirmation. even though it does feel like we're starting to regain the momentum and pick up that energy again, allow yourself to be really slow in that energy, because when you're coming out of those dark spaces, you're coming out of your cocoon, your dark night of the soul. It's really like having to relearn how to walk again, So you're having to make sure that you're walking in the in the right direction. You are, focusing your energy in the right direction. You're thinking ahead in a particular way, but just try not to be really impulsive, because you could be like missing an opportunity, or, not fully thinking it through, and then you might, create a negative outcome out of that. But I do like this, because when you're moving from the page to the night, you're transitioning from being maybe a little naive in how maybe you used to think, and maybe thinking that, a lot of things had to be the way they were, even if you thought you didn't have to apply the effort. And now you're starting to understand that, when it comes to manifesting your energy, yes, or manifesting things that you want, yes, you do have to reserve your energy, but to some extent you have to put a little bit of willingness or a little bit of action towards what it is that you want. And I feel like that's the night too, because the night, when it comes to in the tarot, the Knight of Swords is kind of like, they're suited and booted and ready for battle. So they're getting up, they're going, they're on the move, they're ready. But this is also a veteran, they know the tactics, they know the strategies, they know the ins and outs of, certain situations and scenarios that they've been through. They've gained the wisdom and the experience in order for them to be in, uncomfortable situations. The knight knows how to maneuver, and I would say with the page, they're kind of doing it for the first time. You know what I mean? So you're either transitioning from one space to another, or, some of you are the page and some of you are the knight. And that's totally fine. But just make sure that you are, continuously working on your expression and your communication. As we are moving into these new spaces, authenticity and sovereignty is going to be really big for us, especially if we are allowing ourselves to experience that for the first time. Your expression is going to be a part of your image, a part of how people look at you, you know. And maybe before you didn't have the courage to speak up and express yourself. So that was a part of your image. She's a little quiet. She's a little timid. He's this, he's that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, when you're coming into this new space and you're having courage and you're speaking up and you have the confidence to do things, people are going to be like, "Oh, wow, she's not who she used to be. He's not who he used to be." Do you understand what I'm saying? So just allow yourself to continue growing and, molding yourself into the best version of yourself, because I feel like with these swords here, because it's all about mental capacity, I also feel like, and this was a message a couple days ago about the full moon in Gemini. We had the full moon in Gemini earlier this month on Thursday, December 4th. I feel like something with that full moon was helping with mental capacity, because Gemini is air, but Gemini is artistic and they're creative and they're very analytical, and the swords is all about air energy. Okay. And so I do feel like there's something happening with the collective when it comes to our mental process, our mental capacity. It's changing, it's shifting, it's being rewired, and like, especially like our consciousness, like we're moving from one state to another. So the consciousness has to do that as well. So I feel like a lot of the old programming, a lot of the old data from those old timelines are being deleted, and now we're rebooting and totally upgrading. um, but I do feel like there was something I wanted to say. I'll come back to it. But I do feel like in this new space, how we think is just, it's gonna have to change. So allow yourself to do that. Um, so yeah, I like the energy a lot, because the swords is helping with that new mental space. So don't beat yourself up, and get yourself up out of it by doing something creative, doing something fun. That was your message for today. So if it resonated, please comment down below. And I'm also leaving my email down here so you can contact me for a personal reading. And as always, please like, share, and follow for more. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.